All right, so here is the next one. So this is the commission. I'll leave this up here. I've got the whole thing written. I'm going to use the facilities. I'll be back in a minute, and I'll just start scrolling it up. All right? And then what I'm going to do is we'll write the other two tomorrow. This is just enough to throw at you for one day. And if anybody needs hard copies, I'll print out hard copies for them. But in an ideal world, at least, everybody will have this done. And the first two classes, the hourly and the commission, will be tested by the end of the day today. And tomorrow we'll come in and we'll write the salaried and we'll write the piece worker classes. They're not really all that different from the commission, to be honest with you.
Here's the better version of it. Here's the better version of it. Somebody gave me tickets. Because I see them. I was like in the front row and I fell asleep. I was sitting down. Everybody was sitting up and I was just sitting there this way. And it cost it.
Make sure for this one, as it shows on the top there, you extend payroll again. You're going to have to do that with all of these. Extend payroll and implement iPayroll. All right, this time there's two different variables, the sales and the rate. Hopefully you've got all this in there, so I'll move this down a little so you can see it starting with a constructor here. And I remembered to leave the word class out of there this time. And move this down now. Do your getters and setters. Your getters won't change. So I think everybody realizes this, but it is totally legitimate to type in the getters and setters without using the code generate tool, but it's just more work. So if you have your getters, here's the first setter. Just like the ones that we just did, except that we're replacing, now we're saying sales in here. And the other one will be the, I think it's C rate for commission rate. So here's the rate one. We're almost finished. If you need hard copies of this, just email me and tell me that. But again, don't do it unless you actually need them.
Once we're done with this, we're done.
That's all I'm going to do today.
Okay.
Yeah. That doesn't mean you can leave.
Right, no, I was.
No, it's funny because this morning I have 8 first-year students, and 3 of them had not Rankin jackets on. And I've told them this 5 times. You can't do that. Because whenever Charles walks by, he always calls me in the office and he says, Jeff, and I know that's not going to be good. And he very politely balls me out so I told him, I said, okay, all of you who have Rankin jackets on, just so you know, you're losing points every day you do this on your work ethic grade. So immediately one person took theirs off. And then I said, what I just told you, I said, just so you know, Mr. Corrigan will walk by occasionally, stick his head in here and whatever. I no more than finish, and 2 minutes later he comes in and sticks his head in and he's looking around at everybody. And he leaves and I go, see? I think he might have even heard that. He's probably wondering what the hell I was talking about. But there's a few in there who like to. Are we done? Can I leave? No. Now you say, after we do this, are we done? Well, we have to update the driver.
Right.
And if you've done that already, yeah. So everybody's got the set rate. So here's to string. Pretty much the same as the last one, except instead of get hours and get rate, it's now get hours and get hourly rate and get hours worked. It's now get sales and get rate. So you could copy in the one you had from before. That wouldn't be a problem. I've got the next one written also, but this weekend I'm going to try to see if I can write the GUI for this. And as I said before, if we get this done, I think at least what you've done is pretty impressive. We've gone through Java very quickly, but you've written a lot, even though it's been basically the same program. But you've also done the palindrome one. But I think this stuff, hopefully at least, will look good in your portfolio. And if you look up on the screen here, just so you know, yeah, you still have to return the string, and you need your curly at the bottom. I just don't have any more room to show that right now. Again, let me move this up just a line or two, just so you can see the bottom. There it is. The good news is you have to write the earnings one. It's literally one line long. It's return get sales times get rate. That's the whole routine. You look up on the screen here, that's the routine. There it is. You need the override, and then that's it. Hopefully we can do the other two in about an hour tomorrow. All right, we'll talk about it a little bit, and then we'll go right into Chapter 11. Bless you. And again, this is the last one right here. That's it. So far, again, we did the interface file, then we wrote our abstract payroll class. All right, then we wrote our hourly class, which extended payroll and implemented iPayroll. Now we just finished our commission class, which again extends payroll and implements iPayroll. We are going to create 2 more classes, one called Salaried and one called Pieceworker with a big P and a big W. We'll do that tomorrow. If this stuff is not making any sense to you whatsoever, all right, you will have to email me and let me know that. Because like I said, what I'm trying to do is to go over these PowerPoints from the book and then do an example, basically a running example that keeps going through everything. But if something isn't making sense, the only way that I know is if you let me know. All right. Last thing, if you look up on the screen, so we can get ready for tomorrow. If you would right mouse click on the name of your package, do a new class. So right mouse click on the edu.rankin.whatever, choose new and choose Java class, and we will have one that's called Salaried, SALARIED. And then do it one more time. So we have a Salaried, and we will have a Pieceworker with a big P and a big W. So I created this, Salaried, and I created this, Pieceworker. We will fill in that code tomorrow. All right, by the time you get here, I'll have both of them. I'll have the first one written, or if not, both of them written already. Okay? Again, good time to do a file, save all, and then we're just about ready to go back to our driver and start making some changes to that. Yes?
So, whenever I've been running either the hourly or the commission drivers, the tab is not working with the slash.
Yeah,
tab.
I think you're right.
Like I put it in the space and it works for commission, but I've looked up and I can't figure out why the tab.
Yeah,
everyone's
it
the
was,
slash tab,
yeah, I think you're right.
and I have no idea why that won't work.
And when I put those tabs in there, I was using the system.out.println, which takes the tabs.
Yeah, I don't know
All
why
right.
two-stream doesn't overload doesn't override doesn't.
There may be a way, it may be an error in the, not an error, but it may be something that just isn't offered in there. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out.
But you're right. I guess I never thought of that, but you are correct. Again, what we have to do, we're not done yet. If you look up on the screen, we've got to go back to our driver. All right. Now I'm going to take all these that I created before, every one of these, and I'm going to comment all of this out. We've already tested the hourly stuff, so I'm not going to do that one again. All right. So I'm going to come down to where my last one is here, and I'm going to put it in here. All right. But now I can go in and start testing the other stuff. All right, so I want to run the same kind of tests. But this time, if you look up on the screen here, all right, instead of hourly, I'll call it commission or something. But you'll notice I still want to run everything good. But these things that are in here, those two things, are not hours worked and hourly rate anymore. Those are sales and commission rate. So you want to do the same kinds of tests. And I will tell you, I want you to hear this, that when I talked before about a test plan, maybe I mentioned this to you before, when I was a programmer for AT&T Bell Labs, the first document I had to write was a test plan. It was 500 pages long because I had to put in every test I could think of for the code I was writing. The idea behind a test plan is you want to put in tests so that if your code is going to break, you break it. Why is that a good thing? Why do you want you to break it? Yeah, because if it goes out onto the field, and you put it out there, we had that happen where we had a guy literally who had an error that he knew about and didn't fix and let it go out into the field. He liked it because they flew him to a different state. He'd never been on a plane before, and they let him fix the error. All right, it wasn't like back in the days like we have today where he could have just brought it up online and whatever. So he had to go out there, and he was a hero for an error he put in. I always thought that was weird. It's like, okay, so you're rewarding somebody for screwing up but fixing it, but anybody who does their job the way they should, no, that's expected. Okay. Where I used to work, that used to be the saying for the place I used to work at was F up and move up. All right? You can figure out what that means. So I'm going to come in here just so you see it. And as an example, I'll just do one of them here. So instead of hourly, this will now become commission. And I'll just call this COM1 good, something like that, equals new commission. All right, and that'll have to become and what did we say? Sales, I think we'll just make it, I don't know, I think how about $150,000. And their percent, I'll make it 25%. All right, something like that. And file, save all, try to run it and see if indeed it comes up. And you notice there it is. First name, last name, sales, commission rate, and the amount that was earned. All right? The last thing I want to tell you is if everybody just stop typing just for a second and look up on the screen, okay? The two that we've created so far, all right? I'll just use commission because it'll work just fine. All right? Brady made a good point before. All these \T's, none of them are working, because the J option pane doesn't recognize the \T. So you really could remove all of them if you want to. Now, the reason I'm saying that is please look up on the screen again. The other thing you can do is you can go back to your driver and you can just say, underneath this, I can say system.out.println COM1 good. All right? So now notice if I do a file, save all, and if I run this one, I'm still going to get my stuff on the screen right here in my option pane. There it is. But now, and it still isn't, it's still screwed up on the page, but you can see at least the tabs are working. All right? Now, do you have to do that? No, you don't have to do that, but you can if you want to. All right? So again, you'd have to test a lot more than just this. I'm going to run the same tests I just ran. In other words, put in no first name, put in no last name, put in no social security number, put in a sales that's too low, put in a sales that's too high, put in a commission rate that's too low, put in a commission rate that's too high. That's just something that, boom, that's got to make sense to you. When you do your next test, which again, the good news is will be your last test, right? You won't have any more tests this semester, all right? I mean, from Android, I don't know how I'm going to test you. We'll see. But this will be the last one, at least for Java, that you're going to have, all right? You're going to have to do something like this. I don't know what yet. I didn't write it. Did it help to give you a pretest? Did doing that thing on BMI help with a test, or did it not help?
I figured out how to get the tabs to work.
Okay, how do you get the tabs to work?
Create a image option pane where you have like hourly good or whatever. Do new J text area.
Oh, okay.
And then do your hourly good
Yeah.
as a string.
Yeah.
But it's too many tabs, so it looks even worse.
Yeah. Well, and that's what we're going to do when we start doing GUI stuff.
Yeah.
So. And if you think you had a lot to type now, I'm going to have to give you hard copies, I think, for the GUI stuff, because every single thing, you know, I'm going to show it to you two ways. I want to show it to you. I don't know how to have the system build it for us. I only know how to program it to put the stuff in. If I get a chance to do that this weekend, that's one of the things I'm going to do. So then hopefully it won't be, hopefully a lot of the code will be written for you.